Thank you. Thank you for that. We're going to talk about what founders should look for in a VC partner. My name's Kehn. As you recently heard, I'm a partner at Happy Hour, which is a VC and accelerator fund in iGaming. I'm joined by 3 people from pretty much around the world in various areas of VC and founding startups. So I'll let them introduce themselves to kick off. Jean-Luc, you want to start?
Sure. Yeah, hi guys, my name is Jean-Luc. I started or helped start one of the first DeFi native venture capital firms in Australia. So we've been investing there for about 4 years. And our specialty was DAOs. So the first Wyoming DAO LLC structure we invested in. So we love DAOs basically and kind of grew with them as well. And I actually resigned from venture about three months ago and have focused all my efforts into like token systems engineering. So I find that founders require help with that the most. So that's where most of my time is spent now.
Great, thank you. John?
Hi everyone, my name's John Fan. I'm on the investment team at Sky9 Capital. We are managing close to $2 billion now, headquartered out of Singapore. But we were actually founded by an American who was an early partner at Lightspeed Ventures, saw a lot of opportunity in Asia actually, so built a fund off of 2 major trends. One was consumer internet, so we invested in companies like ByteDance and Pinduoduo, and also the rise of crypto. So our founder is actually very good friends with CZ, and we're pretty close with Binance as well. As for the fund, pretty sector and stage agnostic, focusing on the early stage though, across crypto and Web 2. My personal background's in software engineering, so I like to stick a little closer to the developers.
Great, thank you. Saeed?
Hi everyone, Saeed Darmaki from the UAE, founder and CEO of Sheesha Finance, which is a blockchain services company. Previously I got into the space by co-founding Alphabet Digital Currency Fund, which is a regulated crypto fund from the UAE. And before that, I used to be in Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, which is one of the largest global sovereign wealth funds. So I come from a traditional investment background and then went into early stage crypto VC and then more into the kind of incubation, advisory services side of the business.
Great, thank you for that. Before we kick off and get into the real meat of it, I do want to say thank you to all of you who are coming. I'm assuming there's probably some founders in the room or people who are interested in the space in general. We'll leave some time for questions at the end, so if you do have a question, please feel free to ask. Okay guys, let's get into it. First, let's talk sort of about the state of the world today. I know the previous panel mentioned a little bit about that. FTX is on everyone's lips at the moment, but besides that, we're witnessing layoffs with Meta, with Twitter, with Coinbase, with Lyft. We're seeing a lot of what looks like doom and gloom. But as a VC, I think you can look at that and think there's also some opportunities in that, and where we can see them. The valuations might be becoming more realistic, or we know we need tech to solve the problems that we're seeing today, and we will always need tech to solve those problems. The downturns put really great talent into the market, right? So to kick things off, I want to ask the question, and I'll take everyone's opinion here. Is it a good time to found a startup or join a startup? And maybe some of your thoughts around that. Jean-Luc, you want to start?
Yeah. So obviously FTX and all the recent crypto blow-ups are on everyone's mind, and it seems to be blow after blow recently. But something that I do take comfort in, and I think a lot of other investors are getting more clarification around this as well, is that a lot of these have been centralized entities and like traditional exchanges basically that just deal with crypto, and they're unregulated exchanges, right? So I think that is kind of a bull case for DeFi, like going fully transparent. Obviously there's hurdles to get through there as well. But I think it does open up, people's minds to that opportunity a little bit. My one fear is just that, regulators won't see it like that and they'll loop it together. But we'll see.
Saeed, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's always a great time to innovate and solve a problem and come up with a startup that's, has good long-term potential in any market, but more especially so in a bear market. At the moment, we're coming across a lot of projects and founders that want to build a product or service in this market, and more so than not, they tend to be more serious people that have a lot of experience and have previous exits and, you know, really want to deliver something solid. So I think if you are that type of founder or person or entrepreneur, then you should definitely be setting something up in this market, and we're seeing a lot of that happening. So I think where there's challenges, there's opportunities. I know it's doom and gloom out there, but I think having the opposite mindset to the market serves most people well. So I think you should definitely be brave and try to do something in this market.
Yeah, I definitely want to echo what Jean-Luc and Saeed have said. You know, there is some concern right now for the bear market, but I think doing a startup is so hard in general. For any founder to have all of that together, like the mental fortitude and like the resources, I don't think the market conditions then are that big in comparison. I think it's a much bigger deal to have everything else in place, like your idea and your founding team. So if you have that ready, from the VC side, I think things aren't that bad. There's still quite a bit of dry powder out in the VC industry. So you know, no matter what the people you pitch to will say, they do have the ability and the resources to invest. So now is as good a time as ever.
I'll stick with you, John, if that's okay. So as I'm fairly new to the world of VC, but you guys have much more experience than I do. What are VCs looking for? Obviously, assuming they fit with your funding parameters, but what are they looking for? And I'm happy to hear about new tech or types of tech or markets or founding teams. What are you guys looking for?
Yeah, you know, that's a very in-depth question that we can go on for a long time. I think it really boils down to a couple of different categories. And to summarize, I think it goes down to the opportunity, the market opportunity, how big do we see, you know, a lot of people say moonshots, okay, you know, but VCs generally like to obviously look for bigger opportunities as opposed to smaller ones. Once that's established, then we're looking for more on the team, like are you able to do this? Do you have the attitude? Do you have the background? And I can go into that as well. But then finally, I think one thing that a lot of people often overlook is also what is our, like between me and the founder, or between our investment team and the founder, like do we get along? Can we see ourselves working together? Because I think that is one thing that's also very important. You might have the best idea or the next big idea, but if you're working with the wrong venture team, then things can still go wrong. And I think the opposite is also true. If you can find the right team, then there's a lot of positive synergies that can result.
Jean-Luc, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting time, definitely, because I think at the end of last year, like the number of crypto VC firms specifically had quadrupled from like 12 months earlier. So there was definitely like a massive inflation, and a lot of these were, you know, early participants, small VC firms. But the power for raising was definitely in the hands of the founder, like really heavily. Like capital was cheap, and you could basically choose who you wanted to partner with. I think that's still somewhat the case, but things have definitely swung back a little bit and maybe become a little bit more realistic. It's a bit more of an even playing field. And so I think, like, especially for like someone with a VC perspective, you want founders that are solving the issues that you're identifying. So if you're a good VC and you're deep in the space, you're doing your own research and you're finding inefficiencies within the market, and then if founders can come along and without having to hold their hand, solve those issues, that's a massive attraction.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to elaborate on one of those characteristics of the right team. Has any of that changed since the start of the reception? Have you changed your viewpoint or your approach, Saeed?
Yeah, I think currently in this market, I think most VCs are looking for the best valuation possible. I think if it's something that's solving a problem and has a lot of potential, but a VC feels is overvalued, especially in this market, then why would they use their dry powder where they can use it elsewhere where there's a better deal on offer? So I think numbers are the most important thing in this market right now. Before this bear market, I think most VCs were just throwing money at so many projects without going through a lot of due diligence or talking to most of the founders or doing much research. But I think it's a lot more conservative now, and most VCs really do a lot of due diligence at the moment and look for the best valuations.
Great. And as a founder yourself, can you give us a little insight into your journey and what you were looking for in a VC partner?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of capital out there. There's a lot of money out there. But I think finding the right partners and finding the right value investors and VCs is the most important thing. I think you need to kind of have a lot of conversations with as many different VCs and investors as you can that are in your network. But then you have to make a decision on which one of those will actually be there to support you when times are difficult. I think raising money is one thing, but then that person who's invested in you, are they going to be there when you really, really need them the most, which is in current market situations. And when you have a lot of challenges that come about, you need the best advice possible and you need the right people to be there to support you. So I think that's really important.
Great. You mentioned clearest or best opportunity out there. What is the clearest opportunity out there? And again, maybe in terms of market or in terms of geographical location or tech, where's the clear opportunity?
Well, if I could say what the clearest opportunity was with confidence, I think I'd be the most popular guy in this room. But I think there's definitely a couple of areas which are super hot and are continuing to grow pretty fast. This year, especially gaming in the Web3 space had a massive amount of investment. I think it was by far the biggest. It was like nearly 60 to 70% of all money was going into gaming. So gaming looks like it's set to grow, or it's got the capital behind it at least to grow. But I think a major roadblock for the Web3 industry is UI and UX. So being able to have a seamless onboarding experience for users is still a massive issue. And I think teams that are solving that big divide between the Web3 world and then the rest of the internet essentially are going to be sitting in a really good position.
Thank you. John?
Yeah, I'm also going to say what I think is exciting, but I also want to caveat that as I think VC opinions tend to be more of also a lagging indicator. So for the founders out there, definitely believe in yourselves because the next big idea will most likely come from you and not from a VC. But with that said, I personally am pretty excited about developer tools and infrastructure. I don't know what the exact number is, but a couple of different studies. It's between 10 and 20,000 developers every month either are deploying smart contracts or have committed code. So, in comparison, Google has 100,000 developers. So I think each developer in Web3 is very expensive and valuable. And I think any tool that can either lower the bar or expand that universe is a potential enterprise contract right there. So definitely an area I'm looking at.
Great.
I think there's two opportunities. I think in the short term, especially focused on crypto, in the short term, I think the liquid distressed assets out there that are already listed and trading, I think if you find some really strong fundamentals on some of those tokens out there, then in the short term you can make a lot when the bull market comes back. For the long term, I think what's most interesting for me is the intersection of metaverse and NFT and gaming. I think projects out there that are trying to put all these three things together in one place and getting the right ecosystem and partners and users on board will do well.
Great, thank you. I'm going to ask one more question and then I'm going to open it up to the audience. So if you do have questions, get them ready. Okay, as VCs, what is the best pitch you've ever heard? Or what is the best pitch you've heard and not invested in? Either one, we want to hear the story. Go ahead, Jean-Luc.
Yeah, I think I'll echo what I was saying before, in that the best pitch was it felt like the founder was in some ways like knew me very well or was reading my mind, because it was an issue that I had identified in the space, something that I thought was a major inefficiency, and they were like directly targeting that. And obviously that's very biased to my opinion and my venture experience, but it definitely makes you connect. I think in addition, just a founder who's very aware of the market that they're entering. The worst thing that I find is when a founder doesn't know their competitors very well or doesn't know some of the tech that currently exists. That's always a bit of a red flag. So knowing your market well is massive for a pitch, I think.
Great. Thanks, John. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I also want to echo, you said that it seemed like the founder knew you very well, and I can't tell if the best pitch that I'm thinking of right now, that they actually did know me very well, or the pitch was like somehow resonated with me, but I do feel like there's sometimes a match between like the right pitch for the right investor. So the one that I'm thinking of, I was telling Kelly earlier as well, it just seemed to hit the Goldilocks zone in every single area. Like if on the sales side, it seemed like he was a natural salesman for this product, but also knew the technical side well enough to be credible. He clearly he trusted his technical team very deeply and also had talent there. And then on the visionary side, like he knew, he could explain it very broadly, but also knew the specifics as well of the industry. So I thought, it was honestly, if a pitch gets too good, I get a little suspicious. But like it just seemed genuine and like almost tailor-made specifically for me. But I think that what I want to take away is that there's also like a match between your eventual pitch and who the universe of best investors for you is. Yeah.
Saeed?
Yeah, I think the best pitch I got was, it was pretty informal. There wasn't a presentation or a deck. I just met with the three founders, they're brothers, and each one of them had the right skill set in the different areas that they were looking at. So this project was a combination of AI, blockchain, NFT, and gaming. The project is called Altered State Machine. And from that conversation with the founders, I just knew that they had the right experience, they showed the right type of passion, and they did their homework, and they knew who I was and what I was doing in the space, and it just made complete sense to me, and it went on to do really well. So that's a good example.
Right. I'll open it up now to any questions from the audience. Can't really see, so. Oh, yes. Hold on.
What was the worst pitch you've ever received?
The worst pitch?
Well, yeah, I can give a story there. There was one founder that was pitching us. It was like a multiple metaverse platform. So like multiple metaverses from one hub, kind of like a Netflix, but for metaverse worlds. And they didn't know any of their competition. And then in addition, in the pitch deck, they said they were aiming to raise 1 to 2 million. And they were looking to give away 1 to 1.5% of the company. And so I said, oh, like, does that mean you're valued at 200 million? And they're like, no, we're valued at 10 million. And it just didn't make any sense. So.
Yeah, I think for me, I almost don't think any pitch is the worst pitch. I think there's just so much pressure to be a founder, and just to put yourself out there, to be in that position, I think there's a lot of props for that. So I think for me, I put it more on myself to like, no matter what the pitch is actually saying, like I think it's up to the VC actually to be able to suss out the opportunity there, because you think of a lot of very famous companies, that sometimes the first pitch deck even may not be the most polished or the most professional. And if you're a good VC, you will get to those companies early, so the pitch won't be as perfect as, let's say, if a very large unicorn founder goes up to give their pitch. So, I think I wouldn't worry too much about being the worst pitch.
It's very true. I've actually been burned once before because the pitch was really bad, but then the founders went on to, do really well and raise from some really reputable firms. So I think, don't take things at face value sometimes, for sure.
I was going to add to that. In terms of worst pitch, are the founders that don't come back, where they sort of lose confidence after the pitch and then you don't hear from them again. And the best ones are the ones that come back, maybe not in a, did you read my pitch? Are you ready? But more in a, hey, I need some advice. And I thought we talked a lot about this area. So don't don't let it drop, because we get involved in our own worlds, I think, a little bit too much too, and we want to hear back from you and make you part of sort of that orbit that, and that universe that we're working in.
Yeah, I think on that note, I had a project where the founder pitched to me one time, and then I gave them feedback. I think it's really important as a VC or somebody that's knowledgeable in the space that you always share your feedback and at least try to help people, because it's a very stressful thing to do, raising capital. So if they do pitch to you, you have to give them feedback, whether it's constructive or not, or negative or positive. And then they went away and actually fixed those things that I mentioned, and then they came back to me and pitched again, and it was much better. So I think it's always important to give feedback and give the opportunity for people to improve in the future.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Oh, there's another question. You have like 30 seconds, but we'll be quick.
What are the areas that you're really targeting? What is your sweet spot that you see the technology that you're really looking for right now? That's what's
well, me personally, I've actually resigned from the venture game, but I'm still investing angel on like a personal level. And for me, I'm staying quite close to like deep down the technology stack. So I'm looking at like Ethereum staking solutions and kind of some solutions to the staking friction that currently exists.
Yeah, I'll be pretty quick as well. I think the data stack is pretty interesting to me right now, like data ingestion and indexing is very complicated, both in Web 2 and in Web 3. So, you know, founders with good backgrounds, like technical backgrounds, I think it's a pretty hot space.
Happy Hour looks at gaming and sports betting, particularly in emerging markets.
I think I mentioned before what I think the long opportunities are, but I think we're looking at all the use cases across all the different blockchains out there. I think it's good to keep up to date with what's happening in the latest innovation and, you know, find the trend before it becomes too big and you miss the trend. So I think it's always good to do research and keep your eyes open.
Right. All right, guys, we're out of time. Thank you so much to my panelists, Saeed, John, and Jean-Luc. And thanks for everyone for being here and asking questions. It was great.